Нихуя не видно, но там прям дымочек нормальный, хотя трубы ТЭЦ, они за этим зданием. То есть дымит там прям вообще охуенно.
NATO Major General Mike Keller just shared a stunning insight into the efficiency of Ukraine's defense. He revealed that Ukraine's drone force makes up only 2% of the armed forces, yet it is responsible for an estimated 30% to 50% of all Russian combat losses. Who are these operators? According to Keller, many aren't traditional soldiers. They are DJs, gamers, and tech natives who bring unconventional thinking to the battlefield. With innovation cycles moving as fast as every 2 to 3 weeks, they are out-adapting a numerically superior enemy. Ukraine faces a numerically superior enemy and has held its ground for years, Keller noted. This is due to Western support, but also to its own will and its ability to adapt extremely quickly. Heavy battle tanks and large armored formations no longer carry the significance they did in earlier wars. Anything moving roughly 20 kilometers in front of or behind the front line gets detected and engaged. General Keller also confirmed that Western support is institutionalizing, with logistics hubs processing 18,000 tons of material every month to keep Kyiv in the fight. Major General Mike Keller, deputy commander of NATO's support headquarters for Ukraine, told German outlet Welt he sees no indication that Western commitment to Kyiv is fading, even as the war stretches past its third year with no end in sight. From my perspective, I see no signs of a waning of support for Ukraine, Keller said. An end to the war is not currently foreseeable. This makes the West's long-term commitment all the more crucial. Keller coordinates military aid to Ukraine from the SATU headquarters in Wiesbaden, Germany, where around 350 soldiers from 31 nations, including NATO partners Australia, New Zealand, and potentially Japan, synchronize weapons deliveries, repairs, logistics, and training. The scale of Western assistance defies Ukraine fatigue narratives. At Poland's logistics enabling node alone, roughly 18,000 tons of material flow through monthly, by road, air, and rail. Since 2022, nearly 70,000 separate material movements have passed through this single hub. NATO's Pearl funding mechanism keeps the pipeline flowing. Several European states collectively pool 2 billion euros per month, divided into 500 million euro packages, to finance US-supplied equipment for Ukraine. This is currently running smoothly, but it requires constant effort to mobilize funding and adjust many small parameters to ensure a continuous flow, Keller explained. Germany has transformed from a hesitant early supporter to one of Ukraine's most critical backers. The Patriot air defense systems Berlin has provided are invaluable, Keller said. Germany now hosts NSATU headquarters. Keller emphasized that no single wonder weapon will decide the war. What matters is a constant flow of materials and reliable prospects for Ukraine. That would also send a clear signal to Moscow that a war of aggression doesn't pay off in the long run, he said. The message is plain. NATO's support infrastructure isn't winding down, it's institutionalizing. Ukrainian drones struck Russia's Stavropol region and the city of Orel overnight. A fire broke out near the Novinomysky Azot chemical plant, reportedly hit in the attack. In Orel, local sources also suggest a strike on the city's thermal power plant. Ukrainian forces struck the Novinomysk Azot plant in Stavropol Krai, one of Russia's largest chemical enterprises, damaging a production workshop at the site, Ukraine's general staff said. According to Kyiv, the plant produces more than 1 million tons of ammonia and up to 1.4 million tons of ammonium nitrate annually, and is a key supplier of base components for explosives and ammunition. It routinely makes deliveries to several Russian military-industrial enterprises, Ukrainian officials added. The general staff also confirmed that its forces attacked a concentration of Russian troops at a training ground near Dokuchaevsk in occupied Donetsk Oblast. According to the Ukrainian military, the strike killed and wounded about 60 Russian servicemen. Ukrainian telegram channel Exilanova Plus previously reported that UAVs had attacked Novinomysk Azot and that a series of loud explosions could be heard across Stavropol Krai. Satellite images and analysis by Radio Svoboda reveal that this fall Ukrainian armed forces struck over 50 strategic Russian energy and defense facilities, from refineries and oil depots to arms production plants. Analysts say this wave of hits hasn't been seen at such scale before and is already forcing Russia to divert resources for extra protection while suffering critical fuel and munitions shortages. 7 Ukrainian children have been returned from Russia with the help of U.S. First Lady Melania Trump. 6 boys and 1 girl were reunited with their families in Ukraine. The White House praised the joint diplomatic effort, calling it a hopeful step toward broader regional stability. The UK has imposed new sanctions on Russia's GRU after the final report on the Skripal assassination attempt confirmed it was authorized by Putin. 8 cyber officers involved in operations linked to the attack and other European sabotage incidents are now sanctioned, along with 3 more GRU officers tied to hostile activity across Europe and plots to target civilians in Ukraine. And it's never a bad time for a good story about Russian junk. Dozens of tanks and infantry fighting vehicles supplied by Russia have turned out to be unnecessary for Syria's new authorities. Photos published by Welat TV at the end of November show armored vehicles of the former Syrian Arab Army gathered in one location. More than 100 T-62 tanks, IFVs, and other Soviet-made armored vehicles, supplied in particular by Russia over the past 10 years, are now located at a site in Idlib province. Reports about the delivery of these and other armored vehicles were repeatedly made by the Russians themselves. In particular, at the beginning of 2017, it became known that the Syrian army had received T-62M tanks from Russia, which had been withdrawn from service in the Russian army and stored at reserve bases. This modification differs from the basic version by the installation of additional turret armor and reinforced hull protection. Tanks, as well as BMP ones, were regularly delivered by sea to the Syrian port of Tartus, where a Russian naval base was also located. The armored vehicles were supplied in order to replenish the losses of the government's Syrian Arab Army. They were actively used in combat operations. Tanks, as well as BMP ones, were regularly delivered by sea to the Syrian port of Tartus, where a Russian naval base was also located. The armored vehicles were supplied in order to replenish the losses of the government's Syrian Arab Army. They were actively used in combat operations. Weapons and military equipment remained at the bases of the government army, which came under the control of the new government. Footage from this site was also published on social media. Over the past year, Syria's new authorities have moved part of the Soviet-made equipment, including that supplied by Russia, to a single location for storage. It is currently unknown what awaits this equipment and whether there are plans to return it to service. In particular, Turkey supplied the Syrian army in the summer with Cobra and Cadillac Gauge Commando armored vehicles, which provide mobility and protection for personnel.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.